Hello everyone, this is Sheila Shaffie and welcome back to another episode by ProcessArc. Today we're going to continue our discussion around business process measurements, and we have made it to metric number 4, which is cycle time. Now, in today's video, I'm going to talk about exactly how do you measure cycle time, what are the components within cycle time, and then how do you use this metric to figure out what to do with your business process next. Cycle time, also known as the speed of your business process, is incredibly important because when we start thinking about or just taking a general look at where innovation is taking place today, a lot of it is actually focused on increasing the speed of business processes. The less friction a business process feels, the smoother it flows, the faster it's going to operate. And guess what? That's what customers love. They don't want to have to wait 35 days to get a response back around the loan or an application they may have submitted. The faster the process, by definition, the more efficient it is. Now, it's probably one of the easier metrics to measure and it's less intensive in terms of labor or technology because essentially it's looking at 2 timestamps. When did the process start and when did the process end? And so the difference between those 2 timestamps essentially gives you the overall cycle time of your business. Now, let's start with the definition again, and then I'm going to jump into the mathematical calculation. And as you can see, the definition of cycle time is the amount of time, the total time it takes for us to process a single unit of work, a single application for a bank loan or an application for a life insurance policy. It could be the amount of time it takes for you to get a patient through the hospital from the time they walk into the time that they go through their procedure or their visit to the time that they actually leave the hospital. It doesn't really matter, but it's just looking at one single unit of work and how long it takes them to go through the cycle of the various steps that they have to go through. Now, cycle time or total cycle time has actually 2 components to it. It's got wait time and touch time. The wait time is the amount of time you're actually physically waiting in order to be able to do your work, and the touch time is the amount of time it takes for you to actually work on that piece of unit of work and complete it. So let's talk through an example to put these ideas into context. Let's say you're going to leave your house and walk to the bus stop, take the bus and then the metro in order to get to the campus downtown so you can catch your afternoon lecture. So from the time that you left your house to the time that you actually got to your class on campus may have been an hour. But in that hour, there's a combination of you actually having to wait for a bus or having to wait for the metro or the train to come. And a component of that hour is you physically riding the bus or the train to get to your final destination. And the same is true for any type of cycle time, is that you can break it apart into 2 pieces: the amount of time you're waiting for something to happen and the amount of time where an event is actually taking place. The thing you need to know is that the wait time, when it comes to process efficiency and when it comes to increasing process speed, the first point of attack for you is the wait time. Because the more you squeeze wait time out of a process, the faster it's going to go. The closer the actual value creation activities come closer and closer together. So your strategy number 1 from an efficiency and a speed perspective is understand and differentiate between physical work time, which is the touch time, and the wait time. And again, strategy number 1, take wait time out as much as possible. You need to do studies to understand, why are we even waiting for things? What's the root cause of the wait in my process? Once you got that out of the way, your second strategy is going to be wholeheartedly focused on, how do I make the physical steps where I'm doing things shorter? So if you're processing an application and you have to enter 50 data points, and that's where work physically is taking place, you're entering 50 data points into your system, you now have to start thinking about, is there a smarter way for me to do that now that I've taken all the weight out of the business process? So those are the 2 components. We've talked through that. Let's now again talk about the mathematical calculation. The mathematical calculation in this metric, unlike percent rework and percent conversion, is far simpler. You're just looking at start and stop time. And within that start and stop time, you're also looking for the subcomponents of actually where you're doing work versus when you're waiting for things to happen. So let's go to our process map that we've been looking at all along so that we can get a better understanding of how these measurements really matter. So remember that we have 3 major milestones in that process. We've got sales, we've got operations, and then we've got distribution. So that's the milestones that this process goes through in order for us to go from, hey, I think I have a client that has an application, to the time that we actually send them the welcome kit. For each of those milestones, we have calculated 3 things: what the total cycle time is, the amount of touch time or processing time in that milestone, and the amount of wait time. I'm going to pause for a second so you can walk through each milestone and see the difference between total cycle time, wait time, and touch time. I want you to know that these are not made up numbers. This is a real example of a process that we examined. And as you can see, the process roughly takes 7 days to complete from beginning to end. And in that 7 days, the amount of time that our team or the team actually was doing work, was working on that application to make a determination or to enter data into systems or get the packages ready for shipping, was 9 hours. Out of 37 days where that application is sitting inside the 4 walls of the company, only roughly 1 day of that was spent working on that application. The other 36 days roughly was just us waiting for information to come in. Maybe there was something missing. Maybe we needed additional approval. Maybe the client forgot to send us information. The root cause of all of this is what's going to be important. But first we had to measure it to realize, oh my gosh, roughly 95% of my total cycle time is actually wait time. I'm not actually doing any work. That unit of work is just sitting in someone's desk waiting for information to come in or waiting for approvals or signatures to take place. The next step, once you understand the magnitude or the difference between physical work and wait time, is then going lower level and digging deeper into understanding exactly what is going on. Why do we have so much wait time in our business processes? One of the best things I ever learned as an engineer was that the longer the process takes, the higher the probability of chaos taking place. So you don't want to expose yourself to the chance of something going wrong. The more compressed your process, the more streamlined it is, the more efficient the process is, the less chance you have of it elongating the cycle time and missing on the customer expectation. Speed is probably one of the best indicators of efficiency. It allows you to figure out how quickly you can actually respond to a customer request. It's an indicator of your competitiveness. The slower the process, the higher the cost to the business, and the higher the probability that you will not exceed the expectations of your customer, particularly in today's age where it's all about disruptive technology. It's all about getting things faster to the client, making it as painless as possible. Every time you see wait time in your business, it just means that we are holding up a customer request because we didn't think through the process design well enough. Process design is key to all of this. And I hope that as we continue our journey around innovative problem solving and creative problem solving and all these metrics and how do you actually even gauge and design a process effectively, you will get a better sense of how to take waste out of your business processes so that you can continue to delight your customers. I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget to leave a comment and please subscribe. See you next week.